Hi everyone. I hope you're having a peaceful evening, morning, or afternoon, wherever this is finding you. I hope it's in a peaceful place, and I hope that you are prepared to have just a little more of that, and maybe even the benefits of some of my practice here for you. I am going to ask all of you now to get to your mats or to the floor. I've really been running around inside the house today, so I didn't change, and I think it's best that we represent that yoga is not, a particular place, time, and, space. You can do yoga literally anywhere. Anywhere you'd like to practice is the perfect place for you. So wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, and however you may feel you may be limited or not in your movements, I think it's just do whatever you can do in whatever place you're in this very moment. Because yoga is truly about healing and also a badass workout too. All right, so let's begin. Let's take a seated position, whatever you're comfortable in, and raise your hands up. Prayer position, press them into your chest, press your thumbs into your chest bone. Breathe in, and exhale. Back straight, not arched, sits bone pressed into the floor, and your knees pressing down. And I want you to take a more active role in your breathing. We're going to do a deeper, less relaxing beginning of our workout. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 4. I want you to do that a minimum of 2 times, 5 times, how many ever times it takes you to get to the place where you need to be. And while we're doing this, I want you, all those of you who have been with me before in my practice, this is just as much as I can put up on Instagram, IGTV, so you can go ahead and go with what you know what you're doing. And those of you who are new and are just tuning in for the first time, I hope you'll look for the rest of my health and wellness videos. I'm by no means certified. I'm just a really developed in my practice, and I love yoga, and I believe in its benefits, and I've witnessed it for a very long time. That's why I've been practicing for as long as I have, well over a decade, close to a decade and a half. Maybe it is exactly that. But more importantly, reach up, hands in prayer position, press your palms together, bring your thumbs to your chest, press in, elbows down, shoulders back, activate your abdomen. We're going to do our breaths, and I'm going to talk you through what I want you to do with the rest of your body. Focus with your mind on your breath. And as you inhale is when you make the movement. When you exhale with your eyes and you twist into it or wherever you need to be. This is always the rule. So when you're breathing in, I want you to think about pressing your sits bone into the floor. Back straight, not arched. Head and neck straight forward. If your eyes are closed, keep them that way. If they're opened, you should be straight in front of you, not up, not down, because wherever your eyes are, your body, your mind will follow. And I want you to now reach your hands up, press your palms hard like you're trying to pick something up over your head. And I want you to keep your wrist as bent and activated as possible. I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis. I'm in stage 4, and this really does help me. Anyone with any kind of pain in this area, it will help. Just never force your body to do anything that it's not willing to do on its own. You're just going to activate it You're going to speak with your mind to it, and you're going to see what you are capable of doing. So when you're pressing with your thumbs and when you're pressing with your palms, I want you to act as if you literally have something that you're lifting, sitting on top of your palms. And that you have to steadily keep balanced. And I want you to now lift it as if it's going to be over your head. And if it falls on your head, it is going to hurt you. It's super heavy, super dangerous. So it depends on you keeping your palms flat while you're lifting and pressing. Because if you had something heavy in your hand, you'd be pressing straight up. And when you go up, I don't want you to lock your elbows. I want you to always have a little bit of softness in your elbows and your knees. I don't want them to be melted soft, but I want them to be soft. Now I want you to press your thumbs out. My thumbs are my terrible troubled area, on my hands especially. And now I want you to now bring your hands and your arms and make them just as open as possible. And I want you to keep the pressure and activate your arms, every part of your arm. Try to make sure that your elbow is not tense, it's softened, but not so soft that if something landed in your hand, you couldn't just grip it without losing your balance. You shouldn't change position like this or this. It should just be focused on being straight and parallel. Eyes in front of you. I want you to stay in this position with your arms, and I want you to try to press your shoulders together, lifting your shoulders towards your ears. It doesn't mean you're going to touch your ears. It just means you're going to lift your shoulders. Not going to press your head down. Either way, you're not going to sink in so you can try to touch it. Nothing is competitive here. This is a non-compete zone. You're just going to do this because you are squeezing and activating parts of your shoulders and your muscles and your joints that need to be activated and properly using your own body weight as resistance. And when you lower your shoulders, I want you to open the shoulder area here. Make as much room between your ears and your shoulder as possible. Let me show you using one, and I want you to do each one of the things that I instruct you, each one of the unasas. I want you to do it a minimum of 5 times until you feel complete. There is no reason for you to continue past that point if you feel exhausted, but there is much more to your practice that you can do, and we will get there eventually. So with one arm, I'm going to show you, but I want you to continue yours as well. And I want you to lift your shoulder to your ear. And release, pull it down. Lift, pull it down. Don't move your head, keep your head straight. And pull it down. Okay, enough of that. Now what we're going to do, hands up, prayer position, press your thumbs into your chest and breathe. Before we go any further, I want everyone to pause and think of an intention for your practice. Whether it is global healing, enough water, food, whether it's healing from the current national state of emergency that we're in, being in quarantine. And I believe the more I say things, the more it manifests. So pardon me for not just saying things out loud. I'm here in a practice of spirituality, so I would like to practice saying positive things and still speaking of what's going on. So I want healing, global healing, for so many that are quarantined, so many that are absolutely necessarily having to go to work, our healthcare providers. That is the intention of my practice for tonight, is to provide and surround them with a white light of love and protection, and know that they're doing God's work and that they stay protected so that they can heal as many as possible. I personally had the honor of speaking to a fan now / friend recently introduced mutually through a friend of ours. I met him as, a driver for me, and he's turned into much more than that, just a fine human being. He and his wife are just incredibly warm and welcoming to me. And you never know how or where or when or even why you're going to meet certain people that are brought into your life, but just feel so blessed as it starts to unfold. Just wonderful humans, and they had a very excited friend that when they mentioned that they knew me and that he was driving me, Bill was driving me, Alexandria, let's call her Alex, because I know that I'm gonna mess that name up if I say it's one or the other. You know who you are, honey. You're a nurse. You've been in the throes of it. You gave of your time, and you actually got ill yourself. And luckily, you are now, recovering and quarantined and safe. And God bless you and all who, like yourself, just go fearlessly in to do what it is that you have been blessed with training and the ability to do. You're healers. So thank you. So let's begin without any further ado. Okay, so now we're going to reach up. I want you to turn at your waist to the side. Place your left hand behind you and your right hand next to you. You might need to lean. And I want you to twist your body using your eyes as you exhale. You will turn your body and your chin should be over your shoulder. Don't force yourself. If you want to take a binding position, you can at this time. You can hold on to your foot with your left hand, and you can place your right hand on the thigh of your leg and hook it underneath, right here, your knee, or your leg where it folds together. And I want you to breathe in. As you turn, I want you to gaze your eyes behind you, and as you exhale is when the twist deepens. Ready? Watch. Keep your back straight. Sit up tall. My eyes are gazed behind me. And then always come out the way that you get into a pose. I want you to come up, turn to the side, and now we're going to counter that pose. Counter twist, so important. Feel it all in here. Wonderful. I want you to reach up, and we're going to do the same thing on both sides. And remember how many times you should be doing this at home in your practice. So I'm going to put my left hand on my upper thigh above my knee, and my right hand behind me. And I'm going to inhale. And as I exhale, my eyes turn towards the back of the room or behind me, and my body follows my eyes. Notice I'm not forcing my body. I'm only helping it, assisting it by putting my hands in the proper position. To my own body resistance. Come out of it the same way you come in. And I want you to counter twist. I'm going to take a moment in this one. Pressing my knee, my right knee down towards the floor, as you see. It helps deepen my pose and the ability of me to get a good stretch right here, which is my problem area. My lower back has been very bad. To deepen it further, you notice my left hand has now been placed behind me, or I could hold on to, this is my, which foot is this? This is my left foot, and I'm going to hold on to it in a bind. And I'm going to try to put my head down towards the floor, My right knee is pressing down towards my mat. My left hand is on my left foot, twisted behind me. I'm sorry you all lost me in this one for one moment. My right hand is stretched out, as you see, in the opposite direction. And my hand is actually activated so that I can get a deeper stretch. The top of my head is facing the left wall. If you cannot get a hold of your foot like this, or you can't reach around your body like this, it's okay. In a few of my instructional videos, I mentioned how to use a towel, cloth, even your headband, anything that you have that can actually be an extender. Oh, I feel so good. An extender. While you do the other side, I'm going to explain to you something, and I'll do this one just a little with a little less depth. You need to. Oh, we did both sides. I'm so sorry. You need to get something to extend, so if you can't reach your toes, you put something around the bottom of your foot so you can, and that helps you feel like you're doing this. It's the same movement as doing this. Well, while we're at that, from the side, I'm going to do a side position now for you. And I'm going to have you keep your feet flexed, which means your toes are facing up towards the ceiling. Reach up over top. Keep your back flat. Butt sit up straight, eyes straight in front of you, and reach up. And then over, chin up until you see your toes and your peripherals, and head down. You should have a hold of the bottom of your feet, slippers, shoes, wherever you're at. You should be feeling all of this in your glutes, your hamstrings, your glutes, all the way up to, I would say, yep, lower back, lower back. I want you to walk your fingers in front of you. If you're here, walk your fingers here. If you're here, the same thing. And for those of us all the way down in this position, I want you to now walk your fingers out in front of you until your chest is laying flat on the tops of your thighs. And even go further. Elbows to the mat. Keep your arms engaged. And breathe. Come up and out of a pose, and the same way you get into it. Up. Same way we got into it. Now I want you to twist to the side. Same thing, only we're doing it a little less difficult. We're going to check in with our body. Put your hand anywhere you'd like to give resistance. So the right hand, if you're twisting to the left, your right hand should be placed on your left side of your knee, outside of your thigh, outside of wherever you're at, wherever you want it to be. I personally am going to put mine near and underneath my knee, but pressed against the outside of my knee. My back elbow, my left elbow, is slightly bent, but I'm looking directly over my shoulders, and I'm going to do the breathing technique that I taught you. We breathe in and twist with our eyes. On the exhale, I want you to repeat the same thing on the opposite side. You can do this another variation, which is one knee bent, elbow or outside of the elbow against your upper knee, or right above the knee, and press and push away with your right arm against your leg. Keep your body straight. Remind yourself to check in at all these points. And I want you to again do the breathing. Ready? Don't ever twist without the exhale. And before you exhale, you have to inhale. And now we're gonna come out of that. Counter. And switch legs. And do both sides always. Up. And twist. You can keep this hand up. And press. Press this away. So you can turn deeper. And the closer you can get your hand to your body, your right hand to your body, the better. And inhale. Counter twist. I want you to hug your knees. Elevate your feet just a little bit off the floor. Okay? And I want you to hug and try to straighten your back and keep your feet off the floor. If your feet fall, like I'm doing, press your heels down and push off. And try to balance yourself this way. It's good for the abdominals. You're engaging the abdominals and you're also helping your back. You're not sitting on your tailbone. You're on your little butt cheeks, you know? Now while we're in this position, put your feet flat. Pull your feet in as close to your glutes as you can get them. And chin up and over your knees. And hug, hug. Breathe. And simply from this position, open your arms, uncurve your back, arch, look up and behind you. Keep your teeth closed. When you look behind you in any Uttanasana, any pose, keep your mouth closed, your teeth closed, because when you open your jaw, it changes everything that you're using as a muscle. And it could hurt you, just keep your jaw closed. Okay, make sure your teeth are not leaving space between them. Because the more you stretch your neck, the more you're going to realize how hard it is to make sure that you keep your teeth closed. And now we're going to rock back. Hug our knees to our chest. And I want you to go side. Reach your left hand out. Keep it engaged, keep it up. Place your right hand on your outside of your left thigh. And I want you to press that thigh as you twist towards the opposite side to really engage and make it a more intense stretch. You can take, you're gonna see now my quarantine pedicure, meaning there is none. You can take the toe, yogi toe lock, like I've taught you. It's 2 fingers, peace sign. Grab the inside of your big toe and then hold on to it. You can wrap your thumb around it if you want to lock it in, but just hold on to it. My thumb's gonna be free. And I want you to pull that leg and keep it as straight as possible over and make it a deeper stretch. And I'm gonna reach out with my left and pull my right hand up. So if I really wanna make this more intense, watch what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna take off both shoes, okay? And then I'm going to lift your feet straight up. And what am I doing here? We're gonna wrap them, right? Ready? We're gonna take, guiding it with our right hand, we're gonna take both of our knees, which are locked together now, or whatever you can do in this position. If you can lock it one time, just cross your legs, it's fine. If you can do this, and then press your legs down, and you're still gonna do the same thing. You're going to take your elbow and press that down to the floor. So you're opening that stretch and you're really magnifying and deepening and stretch the closer you can get your knees up towards your head, the deeper the stretch will be. There we go. And just really remember, we have to do this 5 times on each side or 3 times on each side, but you cannot get away with doing it just once. And so I got to even it up. Hopefully I wasn't giving anyone a show there with my top, but I guess I'll hear about that. Come back to center, both arms out, and I want you to now hug your knees, give yourself some love. Okay, for those of you who know how to do and can get into this position, it's called plow. I want you to go ahead and put your feet over you, guard your spine. If you don't know how to do this, wait until I give you a long, extended version of an instructional on how to get into plow position or plow pose, because I don't want you hurting yourself. There should be no weight on your neck ever. And it's one of those inversions that can hurt you if you're not into it properly. I want you to give yourself a good hug if you can get into this position. If you cannot, modify the practice and do exactly what I'm doing, except for switch it. Instead of it being on your back, I want you to put your feet down and just reverse it. So you'll be laying on top like I showed you prior to this. Just stretch. This is just a deeper stretch. Now, if you can, join me in Yogi Tolak. That would be fantastic. I want you to pull your feet off to the side. I want you to bend your knees, almost like you're doing, you're gonna put your heels together, almost as if you're gonna join your heels. And I want you to rock back and forth. You can keep them as wide as you'd like, or you can keep them as close together as you like as you rock back and forth. Whatever serves your purpose, however you are doing it is the right way of doing it. In other words, if you can't stretch any deeper than this, that's fine. It's perfect for you. If you can do wherever you're at, any kind of practice that helps your body, and be mindful that yoga is a no judge zone. It's beautiful to practice, it's beautiful to have. So you know that if you're on an island, no matter where you are, you will always have a way to honor your body. You won't have to look for a gym, you don't have to get yourself all caffeined up for it. Listen, I've done all sorts of workouts my whole life. I've lifted, I've bodybuilt, in the 80s, I did whatever I wanted to do with exercise. I love it, I believe in it, I believe muscle has memory, but nobody is the same, and that's the beauty of it. Yoga is the only form of exercise that truly does not expect anything from you, except for time. And yet, this is the only workout I've had in the past few months. Since my surgery, it's been 5 months, maybe a little longer, about 8 months since I've worked out. And a few weeks ago, I started doing this and sharing it with all of you, and I thought, wow, this is making me feel good. So I'm going to continue. Those of you who are not going to get the extended version of this unless you go onto my YouTube channel, well, I hope that you'll go onto my YouTube channel. So I want you to reach out, hands up. Oh, okay, hands in prayer position. Bring your thumbs into your chest and press. And now I want you to reach up again, and I want you to take 1 step to your right, 1 step to your left, and I want you to be on your mat still, but I want you to go down and grab a hold of either your ankles, if you need to have a towel for both sides to hold on to, so you're here, doesn't matter where you are. You can even stop here, but if you're here, flatten your back, come up on your tips of your fingers. Actually, we can all do this right now. So we want you to flatten your back, so I want you to look straight in front of you. I'm looking straight at you. A widest stance as you can get. If you cannot touch the mat, get yourself some blocks that help you bring the floor to you. That way, you're able to do these poses, and it's not cheating at all. It's just, we call it, you know, bringing to you what you can't reach. So help yourself. That's what the blocks are for. I want you to either go into a warrior. Here we are. We're going to do goddess. So stay like this as long as you can. And then I want you to come up and to one side, straight up to the middle and to the other side. And I think you should do this for probably about a good minute if you really want a good workout. Get yourself going, get it burning, get it going on. But this is going to be the motion in itself. So when you're in the center, facing forward, you just stay here. You can either come up into releve or you can stay flat on your feet. Your toes should be pointed away from one another in almost like, you know, you're totally turned out position. And I want you to go down as deep as you can or stay as high as you need to stay. Some days are better for me, some days are not. And so I want you to now just stop here, pose here, and up, and then you go to one side, and then the other side, doesn't matter which side is first. Always start and stop wherever you started. So if you start here, you need to stop there and pause in between each side. So your body can realign and it's another dip. So you dip, you come up, and to the right. Dip, up, and to the left. I can go into releve when I do my lunge to the side, my side lunges. Legs are turned out. Remember, your feet are turned out because we're looking at working this muscle here for you. This is all part of yoga as well, believe it or not. So you want to do that as much as you can, as many times as you can on either side. Breathing is a huge, deeply important thing, especially when you're building up your adrenaline. Pop back to the back of your mat. Keep your feet on your mat, and I want you to now go down onto your mat with your head if you can. I never want you to use your head to balance or take the weight of your body, because that's like putting all of the weight of your body on your neck. I cannot do inversions right now because I have, well, let's just say my RA is stopping me from doing that, and also my 6 herniations in my neck are so progressed. I can't. But if you can have an inversion practice that you'd like to do, I'm a little jealous of you right now, but go ahead and go for it because you're ready for it. At this point, you'd be able to go right up into your inversion. And for those of you who want to do a headstand instead, or you just want to go into a tripod, you can do that at this time. Some of you just want to stay with me, that's fine too. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my left hand, put it on the outside of my right foot, and I am going to stretch my head down to my knee. But I'm going to put the left side of my face onto my knee. Just place it on my knee gently, or wherever you're at. Your right hand can be helping by being behind you to balance you, or you can put it straight up in the air, and you can twist your body until you can't see your shoulder. Readjust your hips, lift straight up, and that's one side. And stop in the middle and go to the left side and do both sides. Always do both sides equally. And if you'd like to do your practice where you come back and you claw your hands behind you and you tiptoe your fingertips all the way back until you're into a position where you're, I don't know if it would be better if I turn around for this one for you so you can see. So this is what it should look like. My head is not resting on the floor. I'm walking my fingers behind me and trying to get as deep as I can with my stretch. You can stay here, close your eyes, and really stretch into it, or you can go ahead and go to your sides and do your stretches like I just showed you from the other position so you know what they look like. Those of you who practice often must know where my trouble is lying in my body today. It's a tell-all. So now we're going to come down to the mat. I like to do that twist, so watch what I did. I'm like this on my mat, so I turn, don't even move, boom. And same thing in reverse. Just cute, that's all. I want us to now take ourselves and get to a downward dog. So if you'd like, just take your time, go at your own pace. Remember, this is not a competition, but when you're ready, we're gonna do a cobra for a moment. When you do the cobra properly, and this is not king cobra, this is just cobra. You can literally feel, it's like stretching your back only in the opposite position for your stomach. My stomach muscles are elongating and feeling more beautiful and settled in. I like a strong core, a strong abdominal. I have a good practice for that because my back is so weak. I had to build the areas around it to keep it stronger. So this is great for that. I'm gonna go back into child's pose for a moment. Open your knees, even though your feet might be together, you might be sitting on your feet. You can cross your foot, one foot over the other. Lean back on it, but your knees should be the width of your mat. And then just go down into child's pose as low as you'd like to go onto the mat, or wherever you're at is perfect. Your left cheek on the mat, and then your right cheek on the mat. Breathe. And if you use community mats, if you're ever in a studio and you use community mats, I would just say don't. Try to do your practice without a mat. Trust me. Now, all those times I would say to my friends, don't use that. You know, you don't know who's been using it. I don't care how much cleaner they spray on them. You have to have your own mat. Well, no one's laughing at me now. So now we're gonna go into our first downward dog and check in with our bodies. You can make it a moving or a walking dog, however you like. You can walk up to your hands. I'd like it if you did, actually. I want you to take your right hand and I want you to twist at your waist and just reach up towards the ceiling and try to look with your eyes towards your ceiling, towards the ceiling, keeping your left hand flat, planted on the floor, in front of your left toes. And come out. And the same on your right side. Remember, when you breathe, your movement and deepen stretch comes from the exhale. Hands in front of you. Take your hand and slide it underneath your foot. Your toes should be touching your wrist. Do that on both sides. And now I want you to pull up as you push down. This is the push-pull. Try. All my pain warriors, RA, arthritis, osteo, fibro, and pain, debilitation, herniated discs, stub toes, I don't care what it is. Whatever your pain is important to me, and I want to help you manage it and honor it. Acknowledge your pain. This is a sweet pain. Some of the sweetest there is. If you'll notice, I have hyperextensions, which is one of the reasons I'm so bendy, but it's another reason I'm in so much pain. So I have to honor that. I'm grateful, but I still have to honor it. So we're gonna go now back into our downward dog again. I want you to properly do a nice downward dog for me. Look up at your belly button. Your navel should be pressed through your back and all the way up to the ceiling, like there's a string attached to the ceiling and your belly button. And the ceiling is pulling it up. Your eyes should be looking for your belly button, searching for it, pinholing it. Your butt should be elevated towards the ceiling. Your shoulders pressed together. Your hands are shoulder width, pressing into the mat, grounding you. Your heels should be on the ground, or they should be here, or they should be wherever they're at. But you should try to keep your feet forward and try your best to get your heels down for the deepest stretch you can get. But wherever you at is fine with me. I want you to bring in your left knee, place it between your left and your right hand, closer to your left. And I want you to slide your right leg back. We're not going to do an activated stretch here. This is going to be active enough. Keep your hips straight, even though your left should be twisted just slightly. Keep your hips as straightforward as possible. Breathe. At this time, if you want to deepen it, just slightly, because I'm not going much deeper. I want you to put your hands in prayer position, but then hook your fingers together and your thumb, and point your 2 pointers together and your thumbs crisscrossed, like my quarantine manicure on that one thumb. And I want you to put your forehead on your crossed thumbs. Pressing your hips. You'll feel a deep stretch in your left rotator of your hip. This is an amazing stretch. It's a hip opener. If you want to go deeper, which I really don't at this time, you take your foot, literally, and move it up. So it is almost even with your shoulders. Remember to keep your hips in front of you and straight. But tonight, this is how it would look. But tonight, I'm going to keep mine halfway in between there. How's that sound? Because I want to roll on mine. And now we are going to press our hands on each side of our knee. Just like we got into the pose, we come out of the pose. Ready? Activate those back toes on that right foot or whatever foot's behind you. And I want you to press back by pushing your arms. And I want you to keep this left foot or whatever foot that you had bent in front of you elevated. And I want you to reach up in a standing split. Everything about the downward dog position is still the same. You're still looking at your belly button. Just your hips are in different positions, that's all. Pressing those hands and squeezing those shoulders. And I want you to now bring your foot down to the mat. And we're going to switch sides, of course. So if you'd like, you can stretch up before we get into the pose. And I want you to do these poses again, more than once on each side. I'm trying to cover a little bit of the hip openers with you and for my back as well. Tonight we did this. Hope you're all hydrating. Press your elbows onto the mat. Hands in prayer position, clench them together, cross your thumbs, forehead on your thumbs. And to activate this and go deeper, you could go onto your toes like you're getting up to go into downward dog. Or you can keep your foot flat, but don't be lazy and put it off to the side. Keep your foot at least straight out behind you. Hands, every position is important to the stretch. If you do not have every part of your body in the right position, This is why you need to check in with it. You won't get the deepest and the best results. And I want you to have the best results. So it's why it's important that you hear my words even when I'm not with you, adjusting your body so you can benefit from this, and never force your body. Not once have I taken my hands and just said, okay, I'm gonna push myself into this position. Don't do that. There's called adjustments, but those are made by professionals, and you're not gonna be doing an adjustment to yourself. So be mindful of where each part of your body is supposed to be so you know that you are not putting stress on the wrong muscle, bone, joint, and groups. Please watch as often as possible, if not my tutorials or my positioning. Use someone that you can relate to. Now I'm going to have you all put your hands on both sides of your knee. And we're going to do what we did before. We're going to come out of it the same way we got into the pose. I'm going to take and activate your left toes, putting them to the floor, face forward, and I want you to lift up with your right leg, and down and get into that dog, walk it up, check in. You should be good and loose now. I know I am. I'm actually going to do another stretch that I do. It's kind of like my reversed counter, because on my hips, the inside of my groin area then needs to be stretched, and it also helps my calves when I stretch each side. So there we are. I want you to now come into your seated position comfortably, and we're going to check back in and remembering our intentions. At the top of the class, I want you to honor yourself, your practice, your body, your mind, your heart, your soul, your spirit. And when you do so, multitudes of the same will be returned to you. Stay positive. The rest will follow. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Go in peace. Please be grateful for all this time that we have together. I know I truly am. And thank you to all of you, and you know who you are, who have been just blowing me up with such gratitude for me taking my time to do this. I want you to all be able to find me at all times. If you haven't already, please go listen to my 5-minute introduction on my podcast at absolutelydanielle.com. And definitely subscribe to my podcast and follow me and stay updates, get alerts set for absolutelydanielle.com so you can know what's coming, because I have a lot of great surprises in store that will be happening over the next week and 2, and you will see it nonstop. For my cooking videos, go to the original Danielle Staub on YouTube, and for the extended version of any of my videos, which you start out on IGTV, you're gonna find me there. And for my podcast, Absolutely Danielle _podcast on Instagram. And you can send any messages related to my podcast there, or on my Facebook page, which is Danielle Staub is for my regular Facebook page, the verified page, and Absolutely Danielle podcast is another one of my pages. So feel free to message me in any one of those areas, and I am so happy and honored to be here with you, and you taking the time to be here with me as well. I hope one day to give you a nice long flow class, or Astanga, and I'm so honored. Again, thank you, and remember your intentions, and I hope that all of you that were here in the top or that are joining us late will remember to honor. Mine was to honor the healthcare workers who have devoted their lives to saving ours. So this is for you. Many, many blessings, and thank you. This will help. Have a great night, everyone. Always start where you are. And remember, you are enough. You are absolutely enough. You always have been. This is the non-compete safe zone. All who come here will be honored. Trying is half the battle. The rest of it is just fun and beautiful. Stay connected, stay safe, and stay home, please. Thank you.